Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Compelling Conversations podcast. Today, I'm very happy to be joined by my friend Sahir. Sahir, thanks so much for being here, man.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Omer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is really cool that you're here because I was just reflecting on the first time I met you, and it was just like glancing at you in Miljanich's class. And it's really interesting because, like, in that particular time of my life, I was like very serious. I was like straightforward, just doing my thing, not trying to make friends. But here we are, we've become friends, and you're on this podcast. Like, how interesting is that?
Man, I didn't even know about that. That's very interesting. I thought I met you in my workshop, but
Damn.
I guess you were in Mill Jenny's class. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We
Yeah.
exchanged like maybe a couple words, and that was ever it. But it's like,
Really?
wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
This was what fall semester, like about not like coming up on a year almost.
yeah. Which is so insane, right? Almost a
Yeah.
year.
It's
Yes,
crazy.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, like I don't know, saying that like because I might not remember, but you definitely do, right? And it's crazy because like I met so many people in college like that. Like I've seen them like go to the dining hall or like stuff like that. And then I won't even like think about it. And then I see them later and then we become like really close friends, Which is
Yeah.
crazy. It's a small world.
It really is. And I think there's something hopeful about that because it's like it's that notion of time takes care of everything. Where it's like
Hmm.
if you're not like immediate if you don't know those people immediately, it's like eventually you do get to know them. And I've noticed that a lot, especially in the past year. Like eventually I did get to know a lot of those people that were in my vicinity.
Yeah. Awesome, man. I mean, that is how like I feel like I mean, going like on a like broader scale, even like sometimes in life, it's like the craziest things. Like, let me think of an example. I don't know. Not even high school, because I'm trying to take it out like the school context. I mean, like, let me just give you a random example. Like, maybe going to the grocery store or something like that. Like, you see someone at the grocery store, or like maybe someone that works there, and then you never think of it. They check you out and stuff like that. And then, like, later on, like, you see them again, and then you start talking to them. So, kind of like us, but like, then you get close.
Yes. It's so funny you mentioned that. When I was a barista, this one guy came in and I gave him a free cookie. And me and my friend, we were going to Austin at the end of the week, but we needed a ride. So I'm like, yo, do you know anyone? He's like, yeah, man, I got us covered for a ride. So, anyways, I go with my friend. We pull up to this guy's house. The guy that comes out is the dude I gave a free cookie to. The guy I gave a free cookie to was my driver to Austin. Like, how random is that?
That's great, man. And that's why,
Yeah.
like, that's on another note. That's why, like, you really can't judge anybody or like kind of you got to be nice to everybody when you first meet them, because obviously you don't know what they're going through, and it could benefit you in the long run what it did to you, in the example. But that's why you have to like treat everybody with respect when you meet them. You can't really be like. That's why the saying like don't judge a book by its cover is so cliche, but it's actually so true.
Yeah. You
Because
know,
like I don't know, I mean, honestly, like if you look at me, right, you probably wouldn't think like I'll ever be on like your podcast. Like I'm probably like some stuck up dude. Even I think, Ash said that about me too. Like he's like, I didn't know you were this chill. And I was like, yeah, I get that a lot because like people, I don't know, they kind of think of me as like this big like dude, and especially because I don't really smile to like a lot of people, unless I actually know them. I'm not gonna just like go out and then like smile everywhere. I'm not the type of guy. But like whenever I get to know someone and stuff like that, that's when I like kind of open up and like I guess like a totally different person, what people say.
yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah. It just something that came into my mind though is I admired that seriousness about you though. Like there's some things about serious people where it's like, oh, that's admirable because it sometimes gives off like a professional sort of vibe. Would you
Yeah.
agree to that? Or what sort of
No, yeah,
vibe do
for
you think it
sure.
gives off?
Yeah, for sure. Professional vibe. Um, yeah, I definitely think so. But there's also a downside on that. People like, I don't know. It's like people think like you're just like an a-hole, like kind of like
Yes.
just like oh, this dude doesn't care about nothing and stuff like that. But I will tell you this, like this one thing. I mean, because we're both in the medical field, going pre med, right? I think.
Are you there?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I thought I lagged. Okay, can
Yeah.
you hear me? Yeah, yeah. So like, are we? Did you hear what I
We're still
said?
good. Go ahead. Yeah, you were saying?
Okay, yeah, yeah, okay. We're both pre med, right?
Yeah.
And kind of like I don't know. I have me and my friend like Nishant. I don't know if you know him, but we kind of like just play basketball all the time, like kind of just goof off, and that's how like our persona is. Like people just think like we don't have to put in like work. Like we're always like at the library, just kind of like BSing and stuff like that. But like it's crazy because like we're putting in work more than like 80% of college people. Like we don't party that much. We don't like really drink. We don't do any of that other stuff. We just kind of have fun, just kind of do our own thing. But then when we need to like lock in, we lock in. You know.
Yeah. Do you think that having that serious attitude helps you lock in?
Yes, but like I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm like a serious person because like I don't know. When you get to know me, I can be really goofy.
Mm.
But if I'm definitely around people that I don't know, I'm not comfortable with, I'm not gonna like kind of like I'm not gonna say I'm two-sided, but I won't like be as goofy as with them, you know, as if I'm like with my friends or like my bros like that, you know. I
Yeah.
I feel like it does help me kind of like focus a little bit more, you know.
Yeah. That semester where I did first meet you in Miljanich's, um, I was serious. I definitely put that on. That persona was the thing I was channeling, and I wasn't trying to make any friends. I was coming to class, doing my work, dressing professional, leaving professional, on time, like, and everything. But, and I think that there's definitely an advantage to that. But it's also, like you said, like sometimes it comes off as mean or something like that.
Yeah,
And so this last semester, I changed that up. I was like holly jolly, making friends with everybody, and I was just
yeah,
having a good time. And that also has, its benefits and its beauties. But I think the ultimate answer is like in between those two, huh? It's like
exactly, man.
some
I
you
couldn't
just got to
agree
know
more.
when to flip that switch, take off the
Yep,
mask and
for
put it
sure.
on.
Yeah, 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 for sure. And I feel like most of the people that know me, they know like when I'm serious and when I'm not, you know. When I'm not really doing work, that's like when I'm kind of like more like loose and stuff like that. But when work needs to get done, you know, I'm really uptight about it. And I really feel like that coming into college, I always wasn't like that, you know. I feel like in high school, um, I was really like portrayed as not really like a super goofy person, but I wasn't serious at all. Like people really thought of me as like a class clown. And like I didn't mind it either. Cause like um Omar, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. You there? Can you hear me? Can you see me? I can see you
Sorry,
now.
bro.
You're
My
good.
Wi-Fi just keeps cutting out, man.
It's cool, man. It's a part of the candidness of the
Okay.
podcast.
All
Yeah.
right, for sure. Wait, can you still see me when you're frozen?
I can see you, but you're frozen. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So I forgot what I was talking about.
You were saying
What was that?
you consider the class clown.
Oh yeah, in high school. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I never really like was too serious about anything because in high school I didn't really try anything. Like I'll tell you this, like high school, my senior year was a COVID year, right? And I didn't do anything COVID year. Like I was on the basketball team. I would just go to school just for basketball, and then I would come home and just like kind of play video games and just join my Zooms just like this, you know. But like no camera, I wouldn't pay attention. I'm not gonna lie, I like cheated my way most of that because like none of that stuff even counted. Like I already knew where I was going to college, kind of didn't like matter. So like senior year was basically a blow off year, right? Junior was the only year I tried. I would say like I feel like I wasn't even that serious though, you know? I was still like goofing around, took a couple AP classes, but I never even studied for a test until I got to college, you know? So I didn't know how to be serious. So like when I was serious, I was super serious, but when I'm not serious, I'm really off task. And then like I feel like this year I found the best balance of those two, you know? So
How'd you
like now
find
I'm
that
just
balance?
man, it's just like I don't know, seeing like all my friends, especially my friend Nishant, I told you about him. He kind of really put me on this like thing, like when to work and like when to play hard. Cause like, I don't know. I feel like freshman year, I was still a slacker, man. Like I would study like beforehand tests, I would study like right before. And like even when I'm studying, I was on my phone, kind of checking and stuff like that. I feel like this year, like when I need to lock in, I kind of just never on my phone. wouldn't talk to nobody. Put some headphones in when I need to. Like if I'm doing practice problems, I can do headphones. But if I'm actually learning, I'll just like put myself in a cubicle, kind of just doing that. And then like I don't know. One thing I noticed is I remember there was just one day, right? Freshman year, I was trying to study, like do all my work in like one day. I bought lunch, like locked myself in a cubicle for like 8 hours, right? And like at the end of those 8 hours, I was like, man, I'm on top of the world. Like I did all this work, 8 hours. And the truth being, I only did like 3 hours of work because I was on my phone for like 2 hours. I was eating lunch, like was kind of like BS and other work. So I was only like out of those 8 hours, I was doing work for 3 hours, I would say, like stop to finish. And I'm like, man, there gotta be better time management than this. So then like I realized once I'm not on my phone, if I just get through those 3 hours, I could spend like 2 hours playing basketball, 1 hour lifting, showering, and then watching the show for an hour. And this is like the same amount of time that I did that 8 hours in that cubicle. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just different, you know?
Yeah. I'm glad you shared that. There's definitely
Yeah.
a lot of truth there. If you were to dissect it, what do you think it is at the core that got you to change this way?
I'll say my future is a big part of that. Just because like I know like pre med is hard. Like I'm pre-dental, but like pre-med, pre-dental, same thing. And it's really challenging and tough, and you got to put the work in. Like people, like I feel like there's people that can work and or like don't work, but like can get the grades that I do. It's just I feel like I am smart, but if I like work harder, I can be smarter. If that makes sense,
Yeah.
like I can do better. If that makes sense. So I just realized like where I'm going. If I want to go here, if I want to get here, like I gotta put more work in. That's just how it is.
There's this statement by this Australian YouTuber, Struthless, that I really like. He says, the pain of not doing it is worse than the pain of doing it. Do you ever feel like that when you're taking things seriously?
Yeah, a little bit. I feel like that, like on the first note of that, the pain of not doing it, I feel that like an aftermath. Like, I don't know, let's say, I mean, because obviously everybody has slow days, you can't be productive like 24/7 unless you're like, I don't know, a crazy person. But like even Elon Musk, all these people, they have slow days. And like, I feel like after those slow days, that's when I realized like, damn, I really could have done this today. I could have been more productive. And that's what gets me going. But like, I hate feeling like that because that's motivation. Motivation will like keep you going for like a couple days, and this is something I'm still trying to work on.
Yeah.
But like when you have discipline, man, like I don't know, like discipline is just a different type of thing. Like you don't gotta put on songs or like think about your future to just do it. You just do it, like you just keep on doing it. And I feel like one things that I'm really disciplined in, or like one thing I am, is just like working out and taking care of my body. Like I never feel like I need motivation to go work out or anything like that. I just do it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to like correlate that to like my studies. And if I can do that, man, I can go places, bro. Just because like if you have discipline, you can go anywhere.
Yeah. I like how you said this. I was thinking about this thing that, feelings can be traitors, emotions, they don't take you too far. And I think that's what it is with motivation. As you said, like it comes and it goes. It's like that thing with the emotions, the feelings, they're temporary. Um, when it comes to discipline, what do you think it's composed of for you? Are feelings like an important aspect of that?
Oh, man, I feel like on the back end, feelings are like, oh man, if I'm disciplined and I do this like let's say 100 days in a row, I wake up early. I don't know. There's many types of discipline. Like discipline for you could be waking up at like 10 and doing 2 hours of work, and then like I don't know, like playing video games for the rest of the day. But like some other people, discipline is like waking up at like 5:30, doing this and stuff like that, and then like doing something else, then relaxing, or like not even relaxing at all. Like going through the whole semester, like whether it's school or like whatever you're trying to work on, like business wise or even like health wise. Like there's so many different aspects of life that just require discipline. But I really feel like um I don't know, man. That's like it's tough because I really don't incorporate too many feelings inside discipline. I would say like if I do, if anything, it's on the back end of where like, oh man, I did this. Like think like then I turn my music up and then I like celebrate. I guess it's like celebrating. But like when I'm in the mode of like having discipline, that's when I don't like play any music or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I liked how you mentioned that example of working out because something I've been noticing lately about myself is I'm just more interested in being there one day at a time as opposed to seeing the change right then and there. Did you hear what I said?
My fault. I'm so sorry. No, I did
No, you're
not.
good. No worries. No. I was just gonna say I'm glad that you mentioned that thing about, working out and exercise because something I've been realizing a lot lately is I'm more interested in showing up one day at a time as opposed to like seeing the result right then and there. It's like I'm
Yeah.
more attracted to just that process of being there.
Yeah. And let me ask you a question. Do you feel better when you do that?
I do because it's like there isn't a sort of selfish pressure there anymore. It's more like a connection with what's real. And what's real is I'm just here one day at a time to do better.
Yep. I 100% agree with that, you know? Um, Going back to what you said about feelings, right? I don't know if you heard what I said about like what I was rambling on about like feelings and like discipline and all that. I like bottom line, I really don't feel like or have too many feelings when I'm like disciplined, and that's like a big difference, you know? Because like I feel like motivation for me to get motivated, you turn on like a song or like you think about like you watch a motivational video. Then those are perfect, right? It's kind of like I don't know. In AP English, they talked about exegesis and context, right?
Mm,
So like I don't know. This is a good point. It might be like where I'm rambling, but exigence is like something that's onset, right? And that's like your motivation. But the context is like the discipline, the thing that like I guess keeps you going, but in the long run, you know, like you're not
yeah.
really looking at like, the like the thing that's happening right now. You're just looking at the end goal, and that's like what keeps me like kind of disciplined. The context, like I don't know, like seeing where I'm gonna be in like 5 years or like more, you know, kind of
Yes.
like thinking about what I'm doing right now.
I really like that you mentioned this. For me, something that I was going through for some time was the thing that would rupture my discipline is the finish line mentality. So it's like, oh, I made an A on that test or that class. Like, great. I don't need to study anymore. I can just put my feet up. Or, oh, like I did that. I got shredded once. Like, great. I don't need to work out anymore at all. And
Yeah.
it's always just like once you hit the goal, you just stop. That's what it was like for me. But I'm trying to become reacquainted with it. And it's actually something Ash shared with me, which like it's not about crossing that finish line. It's like, for example, you don't get married just to get married. You get married to continue that relationship. You don't start a
Yep.
business to just start it. You continue in the realm of business.
Very
And
true.
that's something I'm trying to become more acquainted with. And I think it connects to what you were saying there. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, no, yeah. You gotta you kind of like when you start something, you can't really get comfortable, you know, like as you brought up with that A, right? Man, I know that feeling too, Omer, because like I have like a very distinct feeling that like bit me in the butt for that. So you know how like finals come around, right? And oh man, it wasn't this semester, but it was like I would say freshman year, maybe like a year ago, like from today. Or not today, but like, you know what I mean, like a year ago. But I think I had like four final tests and I finished three of them, right? And I finished like a A minus, a A, and then like maybe like a B in chem or something like that. And then like I had calc for the last one. And man, I was just so burnt out. I didn't even want to study or nothing like that. And like people around me weren't studying and kind of like it felt like I wasn't going me versus me. I was kind of comparing myself to others, which is why you can never do that, man. Cause like I was like, man, since other people aren't studying, man, I'm not gonna study. And then maybe the fact is they were studying, but I just didn't see it. And I just didn't really study for that test. And I bombed it, bro. Like I was on pace to get like an A. I finished with like a B minus or something like that. And I was so mad. Like that feeling, like every time finals come around, I feel that feeling. Like I can still feel it. Like even talking about it, I can feel it right now. Like it just hurts me. And I feel like things like that keep you just going, you know, it makes you go harder.
Yeah, and what you said right now is making me think of that thing we're talking about, the seriousness versus like the not so seriousness. That's where the seriousness comes into advantage because then you're locked in only on yourself. You don't really care about what your friends
Yeah,
are up to or anything like that. And it's like, so long as you have your eggs in order, the world could go to hell. Like it doesn't matter. You're just doing what you're doing and you know you're set
sure,
on that.
bro. And
But
that's why
like
you,
if yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
sorry, no, 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 you go ahead.
No, no, that was about it really.
Oh, okay, okay. I was just saying, like, that's why you like going back to comparing. Like, I feel like nowadays, I wouldn't say like 100% don't compare myself to others because like comparing does get you better, right? Especially if you're looking up, but like it
Right.
also could bring you down on the contrary, you know? That's why like I try not to compare to anybody, whether it's in terms of grades or looks, kind of like money, anything, you know? Because like there's always gonna be someone lower than you, there's always gonna be someone higher than you. You know what I'm saying? Just be grateful what you have and keep working towards your goal.
Absolutely. There will always be someone lower than you and above you.
Yep,
That's just the truth, man. You know?
it is.
Do you have you ever found yourself on a trajectory where you were trying to be on top of everyone and then you just
Yeah.
realized like perhaps you reached that place, but then you realize, yo, this is really temporary. Someone is gonna up me.
Yeah, I mean, even then, like I was like, dang, man, like I'm not gonna name names, but there was this one dude like freshman year who like got like I think during chem he got like 300s in a row on all the midterms, and I was like, man, I really want to be like that. So then I feel like the last test, I think I really studied my butt off, thinking like I was gonna be better than him. Got a higher grade than me, and I was like really demoralized, even though I got a higher grade on that test, like compared to myself. And I was just like, man, I'm never gonna be like this. And then I was like, bro, we're gonna have two different end goals. Like it's not like we're twins. Like we're not gonna like even twins. They don't have the same end goals, you know. So that's why you can't compare anybody because everybody's on a different path. If someone wants to
Yes.
become like a dentist or a doctor or like a profession, they're gonna be a profession the same as you, but like not in the same place, not in the same job. Like the chance of you fighting with him for that same exact position, like 10 years from now, is like so minimal. You can't even worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many stuff
Absolutely.
about like things about life that you can't even worry about. That's like one of them.
Yeah, you're right. And it's interesting that you mentioned that because I had a friend, great guy, and I really admired him. I really admired his work ethic. I really admired his performance and his discipline and his attention to detail. I run into him a year later and he's just not the same guy. He's like, some people you come into their vicinity, you can just feel it in the energy. And I felt it in the energy. I was like, he's out of it. But he's the same guy. And it's like so interesting because a year ago, he was like on another level. Like I admired him so much. And it's not like he fell from my eyes in that moment, but I kind of recognized the humanness about that. That, yeah, you might be great at a particular time in your life, but you're going to have the trows. Even, and you'll come back up, right? There'll be a wave, but it's all temporary. It's like ups and downs,
Sure.
ups and
No,
downs.
100%, man. And like, I feel like right now, I mean, going like taking that to me, right? Looking at me, I don't know. I feel like right now I'm in a good place. Like, I don't have anything bad about it. But man, I'm telling you, when those lows are lows, you feel it. Like, I could tell you, like, I don't know if you know, but I kind of broke my leg last year playing basketball. So I couldn't like run or like play basketball or anything like that. And I don't know what depression is, bro, but like that's something damn near to it, man. Like I was sad. Like I couldn't do what I love, like just for a hobby. I couldn't play basketball. I couldn't lift legs, right? And then I think at that time I had like something going on with my forearm, so I couldn't do upper body stuff either. So like there was like a 2 week span where I couldn't do upper body and I couldn't like play basketball or anything. I couldn't run, and I was just so sad, man. Like it was definitely a low point in my life. Like, but then like look at me now, like no leg problems, kind of like went through like I don't know self therapy stuff like that, like with my leg, and now like I feel better than ever. You know what I mean? So you're definitely gonna have those lows and highs in life, but I feel like the way to contradict those lows is just kind of like think about the end goal. Think far, think like about something you do, or even do something you love. Like that's really important when you feel like that.
Yeah. When you just shared that story, do you think like you went into that low because you felt like you lost a magic touch or something? Like, oh, I used to ball all the time and now I just can't do that. Is that
Yeah, yeah. 100%. Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, this is the first leg, or like first bone I've ever broke, right? And before this, like I had like minor injuries, but I never had like something like this, like detrimental. And like all my friends in like the group chats and stuff like that, they were saying like, "Oh, let's go play basketball and stuff like that." And I couldn't even do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just so sad, man. I couldn't do like what I would say probably my number one hobby is just getting active and like kind of I couldn't even shoot the ball around and stuff like that. I couldn't even walk properly. And yeah, I mean, definitely it was definitely something that contributed to that. Yeah.
How'd you cope with that low? Because I'm just thinking about it like for myself, like if I temporarily lost something like that, like yeah, I could see it. It could put me in a low, but how did you cope with that?
Oh man, I could tell you, I really feel like it was on campus too, so I really didn't have like any time to like talk to my parents, obviously on the phone and stuff like that, but they're busy. And I didn't even tell my mom because I knew she was gonna freak out. Like she's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm coming to Houston," like blah blah blah. So I kind of like just bottled it up, which is like a bad thing. I would never say like to do that or tell that to anybody. But like I don't know, man. I kind of just like stuck my head in my books and kind of just went through it. And then summer came, and then I kind of got some treatment on it. It felt better, and then like I was feeling it. I was feeling good again.
Yeah. And I think what's nice about that is it's proof that it was temporary.
Yep.
But I'm curious, did you find anything when you were in that low about yourself that you took back
Uh,
with you in your recovery?
yeah, I would say I would definitely open my mind up, because like this is I would say this is probably like the first low in my life, because like I mean K through 12 I had lows and ups and downs, but they were nothing like this, like where I was away from family and like I kind of wasn't at my like I would say my own house. This is freshman year too, so I was kind of getting acclimated to college and all that stuff. But I'm right here.
I'm here. Yeah.
Damn, lost him again.
Yeah, it's okay, man. No worries. Yeah,
There we are. Okay, hold on. Let me try
yeah.
to close. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, man. I apologize. My Wi-Fi at home is
No,
horrible.
you're good, man. Again, like that's the beauty of these things. It's just really candid. It's supposed to be just like
Hmm.
comfortable. So
Sure,
it
yeah.
happens. It is what it is, right?
Yep, totally, man.
Yeah.
But I forgot what I was talking about. Maybe I was talking about like my first ever low. Like this was
Yeah.
never yeah, this was the first low in my like whole life. And I felt like I did learn a couple major things. Definitely don't take anything for granted. And just appreciate the things you have more, because like once they're gone. I like, and then also what I like to do is I kind of like when I'm kind of like feeling sad or anything like that, I always like to think about like what could have been worse, like what someone's going through that's worse, like obviously there's extreme points to like where people can't walk again and stuff like that, or like when people like lose a leg, but like I don't know, I was tripping over a broken leg where people like actually like can't play basketball ever again. So I was like thinking about that when like I was down like that, and then I was just always thought about like what could I do to get back to normal, kind of like rushing that process or like kind of accelerating that. So I feel
Yeah.
like those type of things, it definitely like brought up like it was definitely brought up like when I was down there.
Yeah. Jordan Peterson was talking about how like when those negative emotions come, it's like, okay, so what? Like what can you do now to try to make sure that doesn't happen again? Or what can you do
Yeah.
now to move forward? And
Hmm.
I don't know. When I hear something like that, the word that comes to mind is just mature. Like that's a mature thing to do. And I want to
Yeah.
become more acquainted with that, you know?
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely feel like this was like a big like growing up point, for me because I feel like I don't know. I'm not really like I wouldn't say well off, but I definitely like had it better than some other people. I'll say that. Like there's definitely I could have been like, I don't know, in a hole in like India or something like that. But I'm blessed, man. I'm able to go to university. I'm like able to do all these things, like gotta like take advantage of it and like appreciate it at the same time.
Yeah. It's a very good point. It's very true. Yeah. You mentioned India, and I was wondering, like, we talked about this once before too, I think, in the workshop, but America's just got so many different cultures. But like for me personally, like I'm an American. Like this is my culture. This is like my thing. Like, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like more of an
But
affinity to India or like America?
man, I mean, dude, I feel like I've never been to India, like ever, like not even visited. I feel like I'm definitely more American than Indian, if anything, you know? Like obviously I'm Indian like ethnicity wise, but like I can understand bits and pieces of the language, you know. But other than that, I really feel like I'm not really tied into my roots, which is a bad thing, but it's also like you can't really get mad at me. So I would say like more American.
Yeah. And I think though, like a lot of people, they like people of our culture, they don't really appreciate that. Like, oh, you should be more in touch with your roots. And yeah, like that's a good thing, sure. But also I think there's really a lot of beauty in the fact that we are American because it's like it's a it's a very unique opportunity. It's like
100%. Yeah.
we're so unique in this. Like this is our thing, but we come from somewhere else.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I don't know, but I would say there's probably like hundreds of thousands of people that want to be in our places, you know, like here, like studying at like a tier one university, having friends, you know, like understanding different cultures, stuff like that, but they don't have the opportunity, you know?
Yeah.
And like it's just you got to appreciate it, you know?
Yeah. And that goes back to the thing that we started talking about in the beginning. It's like, what are the chances that you and me are sitting here having this podcast? I always think about all the different people I meet, like, what if like our ancestors knew each other, you know? And it's like, oh, hundreds of years later, now these people are in contact again or something like that.
That would be crazy, you know?
Yeah. Or like I remember I went to like a cafe with my friend and one of them's from Mexico, the other's from like Bosnia, the other dude he's from like Tunisia, and it's like wow, like just all these different parts of the world, and it's like America is that place where you all just come together. It's cool. It's a very cool thing.
No, very and we're like one of the like we're in one of the biggest cities that has that, you know, especially universities, you know, U of H, I would say if not is one of the most diverse like universities in all of the US.
Yeah, and I'm curious because you're in Austin. If you've noticed this, I feel
Mhm.
like for the past like year, maybe two, like the tide is turning in Houston. Like Houston's like a hot place right now. Like there's something going on out there in the
Totally,
culture
bro.
and the
Like
people.
totally. Have you been in Houston your whole life?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
More or less. Were you like there particularly from like I don't know, probably like 2016 to like 2018 or something like that, or like 2020
Yeah.
even?
Yeah.
I would say like that is when like Houston was probably like I want to say at its top, but like in terms of culture and like how like popping it was, like you said, man, like I would say all credit to like James Harden and like Travis Scott and all those people, you know, they were keeping Houston lit. And then once like they left, I feel like it died down a little bit, but I feel like it's coming back up. You know, there's like rumors of like James Harden coming back up or coming back down to Houston and stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like Houston's obviously like what it's like the fourth largest city in the US. So like
Yeah.
it's definitely gonna be popping. But I can see what you're saying. Like the Houston culture is definitely there. I can see it.
Yeah. It feels it. You know, some things you just kind of feel them. It's like, oh, that's something we have to wait and see what becomes of
Yeah.
it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. There was another thing I wanted to ask you, which was about basketball. What do you
Okay.
think it is about basketball? What, I guess, what's the most important lesson you've learned from basketball?
Oh, that's deep, man. That's deep, Omri. Let's think about that. I would probably say, obviously, like all the common ones, like team building and stuff like that. Me for me personally, it would have to be like I don't know, happiness or joy. You know, obviously, like man, if I could do it over again, I feel like basketball, I'll do the same thing. I play basketball. Like basketball has probably been like one thing in my life that's stayed constant. You know, everything's like been changing. I've always played basketball, but man, yeah, happiness, definitely happiness. Just
I
because,
love that response.
you know, every time I pick up a basketball, I just feel like the whole world kind of just, especially when I like just listen to music, kind of just shoot around, not really competitive play or anything like that. Like the whole world just kind of goes away, you know, and it's just me and the basketball. I'm just shooting, just like vibing out, just having a great time.
Yeah, I really like that. Your words really like echo that. That's just so
Yeah,
true. You
no, yeah,
know,
thank
for
you. Yeah,
me, it's
appreciate
like
that.
writing. And The
Yeah,
way you just said that, it's like everything in your life can change, but like that one thing stays constant. That for me, that's like writing. It's like, oh yeah, that's just what I just do, you know?
totally. Yeah. And I feel like everybody in their life needs to have that one thing that stays constant that they feel like they find happiness in, because it
Yeah,
keeps them safe. And I feel like that's like a big part of your mental health.
absolutely. Indiana Jones has been like everywhere in my vicinity right now. And what I've been really attracted to about that series is the adventure of your life. What I find so cool about Indiana Jones is he's always having the adventure of his life at the forefront of his mind. Do you think basketball contributes to the adventure of your life, or do you see it elsewhere?
I could see it in basketball for sure, definitely that. But it's being like my kind of adventure in my life. I'd definitely say friends too over that too.
Mm.
Just because, like, man, friends, if you have like a good group of friends that man, you can have fun. And like, it doesn't even have to be like, I don't know, fun that you think of like, just kind of like whenever you're just chilling with your friends, like, it's just a fun thing to do. Or like just playing video games, watching TV together with them. Once you find that group, like, that's definitely an adventure because you just create memories with that.
So true, man. Friends literally take you places. Literally. It's like I've thought so many times of places I just never would have been. That workshop, I never would have been there if I wasn't like, hey, Ash, what's up, dude? You know what I mean? Are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, hey.
My
I was just
fault.
gonna, you're good, man. No worries. I was gonna say, like, that workshop, I literally wouldn't have been there if it wasn't like me just talking to Ash. Hey, Ash, like, do you have a workshop? Yeah, like, okay, cool. And I show up. So they
That's
literally
crazy.
take you places. It's cool.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, totally, man. That's
Yeah.
crazy that you said that because, like, now I'm thinking of it like I feel like the best memories I've created in college and life is just like impromptu things, because like it's not like really planned. I feel like whenever you plan things, like obviously sometimes it could be fun, but I feel like the feeling that you get whenever you like think about the event or whatever kind of like brings down like the expectation or like it brings up the expectation. So
Yeah.
like, I don't know, for example, if you're going to hang out with like your friends and watch a movie and like you're really excited about it, you're thinking about it all week, and then it comes to the movie time and like, oh, you're like you try to find like all the like things that didn't live up to your expectation, like, oh, the movie was all right. I wish we did this, like stuff like that. But those impromptu things, you don't have time to think. You kind of just appreciate the moment and you just live in it.
Yes. I love how you said that because that's true, man. I've been thinking about that a lot as well. Where sometimes you like deliberately try so hard and it goes bad. But when you
Yeah,
just kind of let things happen, they happen great, you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have like less than a minute left on this,
Okay.
but I wanted to get your closing thoughts. Is it cool if we end this and jump onto another one?
For sure, man. Totally.
Okay, cool, cool.
Do I join the same link or
Yeah, yeah, same link.
okay?
Dude, so here, it's been a wonderful conversation, man. I had a lot of fun talking to you. And I think it's
Yes.
cool that we mentioned that impromptu thing because, as I said, like none of these are prepared, you know, and it just turned out to be a wonderful thing. Just talking to you, it's a cool conversation.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you for having me, Omer.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm curious, do you have any closing thoughts? Anything you felt like you wanted to say but you didn't get a chance to, or something on your mind that you wanted to express?
Um, for like the people or like you or
In general, anything.
um about the things we talked about, I would say try to find that thing that you enjoy in life. Stay disciplined, don't get motivated, and just have a fun time in life.
I like that. That's cool. Just one thing I wanted to
Sir.
add because you said that thing about the stay disciplined, not motivated. That same Australian YouTuber, Struthless, he said, um, motivation comes after action. He's like, just sit down for like 5 minutes, try to do the thing, like do it, and then the motivation will kick in. You
Totally,
know?
yeah. And going back to what you said about the feelings that you get when you're disciplined. And like how like I guess that's what he said about motivation, but that's how I feel about discipline. Like if I'm disciplined towards something, I would say like, I don't know, maybe like a whole semester, for example. If I'm disciplined, like I'll do the work, get the A's, and then I'll celebrate after. And I'll be like, damn, I did that shit. You know, like I really did that.
Yeah. It's yeah. And those are the moments you remember a lot, is the celebration at the end. Those happen to be those moments that you remember. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, but again, man, I'm very happy that you made it and we did this. I refer to this podcast as like a mosaic that's still like being unveiled, and you're a part of that mosaic now, and it's cool. And
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah,
yeah, whoever needs to benefit from this conversation will, and that's the
for
beauty
sure.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally, 100%. You got to keep going, bro. Keep going with these.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I suppose until next time, Sahir, you take care,
All
my
right, for sure.
friend.
Thank you too, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.